to your websites up front fast. We're going to do everything we can to do that. I promise you that. So give me a few more minutes. Have a drink, some food. Andrew's going to get his bagpipe tune. We're going to kick this off. So thanks for showing up. Thank you. He's going to play the
That's your dad, right? Now go sit down, I'll kick your bum.
Did you get some diamonds too? All right, we're going to get this ball rolling. Just thank you all for coming. I've never seen an industry where CEOs work as hard as they do as the winery industry. I can't tell you. I'm shocked. Without exception, every winery I visited, the head person was up to their arms in grapes, frantically running around, checking sugar levels, talking on the cell phone, and I kind of feel guilty trying to haul you all out here. I almost don't know how I got here, but I think I know. Let's see if I can kind of backtrack and tell you. My father was an airline pilot. And it was a strange profession because either he was gone or he'd be home and he'd be exhausted. And occasionally he would take us to Europe with him. And if you ask me how many times have I been to Europe, I couldn't tell you. I've lost count, and I'm not bragging. But before 9/11, being a child of an airline pilot means you could basically walk on an airplane at 16 and go wherever you wanted. And we did. I remember once my family, we were in an Italian restaurant in Rome. And we wanted to go we wanted to go to the opera. And it was a little hole-in-the-wall place. It was mostly locals. And, we came in, we sat down, we began shoveling food, and the owner came over and he put his arm around my father. He said, slow down, enjoy your food. And I stopped and I looked around the restaurant, and everybody in the restaurant was looking at us. And I felt a little embarrassed, but I'll tell you, I never forgot that moment, and I never will. This year I began writing for The Independent, and I was lucky enough to get an assignment to cover a local winery. While it was a struggle to spell check all the French words, it was a breeze to tell this fascinating story as I realized the wine world isn't about wine itself. It's about food that it should accompany, the music that goes with it, the friends, and the family. It's about enjoyment. I heard Livermore had won a huge award in the distant past, and so I began looking for a local historian. After meeting the city historian Gary Drummond, I was shocked to learn that Charles Wetmore won gold in 1889 at the Paris Exposition, the one the Eiffel Tower was built for. Why didn't the world know this? Why does wine history cherish the 1976 win by Napa and ignore this? And all right, what Napa did was great, but it was 93 years after Wetmore. How is this possible? And it began to bother me. Here I thought Livermore was trying to become Napa, and it actually looked like Napa was trying to become Livermore, except they already had the business. There was something profoundly unfair about this, and it still bothers me. So what can we do? It just so happens we are at a point in our society similar to the time when the first cameras appeared. I was trained as a commercial artist. In the 1800s, painters were horrified when the kings and queens didn't want to have their portrait painted. They wanted a photograph. Some argue painting died at that point. Regardless of what you believe, painting would never again hold the place in our hearts as it once had. The radio was a favorite fantasy world of our parents and our grandparents. Yet the movies were more interesting, and they pushed radio aside. Well, what radio was loved early on, it gradually lost audiences to the moving pictures. Hollywood, which seemed like the ultimate source of entertainment, had unseated live theater, Broadway, and it would never be the same. It did to Broadway what the camera did to painting. What next would really turn heads? And you all probably remember this, television. Hollywood studios forbade actors to work on television even as it was in its infancy because the businessmen knew that history would repeat itself. We all know what happened. The grand theaters of old are crumbling today, if they aren't already gone. The drive-in theaters, which were just a flash in the pan, they came and they went. When the computer hit, we knew there would be another paradigm shift. The computer replaced television as it was on demand. The television would tell you what it wanted you to know. The computer was like a television that you could drive and go wherever you wanted to. It was also your mailman, and now your phone, your evening news, your newspaper. It's your record player, remember those? The computer is your calculator, your file cabinet, your printer, your camera. The list goes on and on. I just want to see as many local wines as possible.
Cattlemen.
I'm sorry?
Cattlemen.
Cattlemen, that's right. If this first year is not scientific, that's fine. I want to put the local restaurant, and quite frankly, I want a second category, and it's wine merchants. What wine merchant in the Tri-Valley has more local wines than anybody else? And it's a cruel ironic thing. 70 years after Prohibition, we're still struggling for recognition. But this is part of it. It's recognizing the people who take care of each other.